Hello everyone, my name is Raven, and welcome to Raven Gaming Labs, and welcome to the video where we're going to talk about Unity's lovely new pricing plan, and, what? Like, seriously? Okay, so, to get into this, I normally don't like covering, sensational videos and that kind of garbage. I really don't like it, and I really do like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I read this blog post and their FAQ, and all I can say is what? Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Unity is completely changing its pricing plan and packaging, by the way. So the Plus plan, which I think was like $400 a year, that is gone, and Pro is $2,000 a year. So we'll scroll down through here. So effective January 1st, 2024, we will introduce a new runtime fee that's based on game installs. And we will also add cloud-based asset storage, Unity DevOps tools, and other garbage that we don't care about. And apparently, as many of you know, the Unity engine is in fact two substantial software components, the Unity editor and the Unity runtime. The Unity runtime is code that executes on player devices and makes made for Unity games work at scale with billions of monthly downloads. By the way, at the end of this, I'm going to give my theories on why they're doing this. We are introducing a Unity runtime fee that is based upon each time a qualifying game is downloaded by an end user. We're going to look at the FAQ on that because it actually clarifies that a bit more. We chose this because each time a game is downloaded, the Unity runtime is also installed. By the way, you give the Unity runtime to the user. It's packaged. It doesn't cost Unity any extra. So that kind of makes it seem like they're saying, oh, this costs us money. It doesn't. It literally doesn't cost them any money at all. Also, we believe that an initial install-based fee allows creators to keep the ongoing financial gains from player engagement, unlike a revenue share. Oh, we're going to get into that too, because no. It's cheaper, and I put this in quotes, than Unreal. But, cheap is relative. Thresholds for revenue and installs. Games qualifying for the Unity runtime fee after two criteria have been met. The game has passed the minimum revenue threshold in the last 12 months. And number two, the game has passed a minimum lifetime install count. That's cool. We set high revenue and game install thresholds to avoid impacting those who have yet to find scale, meaning they don't need to pay the fee until they have reached significant success. Only games that meet the following thresholds qualify for the Unity runtime fee. Unity Personal and Plus. Which is weird because they've gotten rid of Plus, so I don't know why it's mentioned here. Unless you have like an existing license or something, I don't know. Those that have made $200,000 or more in the last 12 months, okay, and have at least 200,000 lifetime game installs. So when I was talking to this about a buddy, I was wondering about the lifetime installs. So the lifetime installs apply constantly, but your revenue threshold resets. Kind of get that a bit more now that I've read it out loud. Unity Pro and Enterprise are basically $1 million and 1 million lifetime game installs. Okay, fair enough. Flexibility and discounts for Unity Personal and Pro. We will offer Unity Personal to anyone regardless of how much money they make, to make it more flexible in how creators manage their license. Once a game passes the revenue and install threshold, the studio will pay a small flat fee for each install. They have a table, and then, it's just a bunch more. They also have like emerging markets like India and stuff. And there's an FAQ. We're going to get to the FAQ. Okay, so Unity Personal and Unity Plus, which apparently they've gotten rid of Plus. I saw some people talking about that in a forum post, but they're talking about it here, so I have no idea. This entire thing reeks of lawyer, generic, generalism, and completely not understanding your community and pretty much anything. But again, I don't want to be sensational about this. I just think this is really stupid compared to just a flat revenue where, like, you actually make money. And I'm going to show you why that's kind of important here in just a second. So again, these are all the thresholds, and then this is the cost. Essentially, if you don't have Pro, you are screwed. Like, seriously. if you make a game and it gets popular, go to pro. Go immediately to pro. Because if you don't, 20 cents per install. Why they don't have this is probably because they want to force people over to pro. So if you make a game and it does really well, when you get that first check, the first thing you want to do is bump up or put it on a credit card or something. If you know that you're going to have enough money to pay off the license fee, get it. For the love of God, get it. Because even just the first 100,000 is 5 cents cheaper. And we're going to look at the cost of all that. And then, of course, for enterprise. But enterprise people pay a lot of money. Like, a lot of money. So it's not really much of a shock that, And then they have emerging markets. They don't fully define emerging markets. They use India as an example. I assume Russia as well. But the problem is you make a lot less money in India than you do in Europe and the United States. And by the way, we haven't even gotten to the next part of the problem, where how exactly are they going to get this, information to charge you? Because, by the way, we'll see it in the FAQ, they're going to send you a bill of how much you owe, which means they're grabbing the analytical data in order to do this, which that enters the whole GDPR privacy violation issue. Fee reduction. So they're going to make a lot of stuff cheaper, which is probably fair because they're going to try to probably shore up the money through this garbage. New services and tools, no seat price changes. So, they're going to add a bunch of stuff. So what do we get? Unity, all Unity plans will get Unity Centis, which enables you to embed a running AI model in the Unity runtime inside your game or application without needing to pay additional cloud compute costs or introducing latency. Unity Personal will include the Unity Asset Manager free tier, which is 10 gigabytes of storage, a maximum of 3 Unity DevOps seats featuring 5 gigabytes of storage, and 200 Windows build minutes and team administrative base roles. Plus isn't mentioned, so I guess Personal becomes Plus or something? I don't know. Unity Pro will include the Unity Asset Store Manager with 50 gigabytes, and then the DevOps will get 5 gigabytes of storage and 200 build minutes. And I guess you don't get a seat limit when it comes to this, which I guess is kind of nice. Unity Enterprise will include 120 gigabytes of storage, and I guess you could pay for more. Same amount of Unity DevOps seats with 5 gigabytes of storage and 200 Windows build minutes. So really, the only real difference is you're just getting more storage for the asset manager, and I guess you get 3 Unity DevOps seats. So, yeah, here it is. Finally, Unity Plus is being retired for new subscribers. Oh, so existing subscribers can get it, which is why they mention it. Which is why up here it's tacked on as the same thing. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I read it, but So now let's go look at this. So they have an FAQ. There's also this, which is the runtime fee, which explains a bit more. So, obviously there's a link in the description, and I highly recommend that everybody go and read it themselves. But let's go back to the FAQ. What changes are made to pricing? We are introducing a runtime pricing fee, so forth. And this links to this right here. When does Unity take effect? It'll take effect January 1st or on the first month of your bill of the new year. So basically, it'll take place probably January 1st. Otherwise, between now, the fee will take place, or in some cases, on the first month after the subscription end date. So it'll depend on, when your subscription renews. Which is like, okay, I guess. It applies to, who does it apply to? Everything. I'm just going to skip that one. What changes have we made to Unity plans? This is pretty much the same thing we read in the blog post. They're just adding a bunch of stuff. There's a Unity industry, which we skipped over. And so for Personal and Unity Plus, these are basically the same. They're going to give additional Unity DevOps. Oh, that's kind of nice, I guess. Go away, Windows. I went straight down. Oh, I'm already in Plus. Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they're going to give a bunch of features or make certain features cheaper, but that really doesn't excuse the fact that they're trying to game the mobile market because, you know, Unity is huge in the mobile sphere. Like a lot of the really big money-making titles use Unity. And I guess because now that Unity is a publicly traded company, the fact that Unity is clearly hurting for money and, you know, they need to make a revenue stream. Didn't they just spend like $1.5 billion and fire like 200 engineers? Like, I feel like a couple of these things could have been avoided. Like, they bought like Peter Jackson's studio for something, and I still have no idea what they paid all that money for. You know, this is just additional. I'm not going to cover all this because it's just a bunch of FAQ garbage. But let's go ahead and move over to the runtime fee. So the runtime fee further explains, basically, if you have Pro, which I believe is $2,000 a month, and you have over 100,000, so at this point you would have 300,000 installs, or actually, yeah, or threshold, and has 200,000 installs, you will pay 100,000 times 15 plus 100,000 times 0.75, or $22,500. The standard is listed for established markets, which is basically the West, Japan, so forth. It's interesting that China's not on here, given that China is an exceedingly wealthy country and like the second wealthiest country in the world, but they're still considered an emerging market, so okay there. And emerging markets have significantly lower rates. But as anyone will tell you, you know, I have a bunch of friends that work on mobile games, and they don't make practically any money from India, but they do have a lot of installs from India. So, you know, using India as an example here, they would probably lose money. So certain games are probably just going to stop being developed or, you know, pushed in those countries because it's like, nope, I'm not doing that. Because, you know, ad revenue is so much lower in countries like India. So, and then this is the billing information on how they're billing it. All determinations, calculations of installs, blah, 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 made by Unity in its sole discretion. That makes me feel really good. It doesn't, because this kind of begs the question, how are they going to get the installs? Now, one thing to note, if we go up here in the FAQ, I think it was on the first part, how will I be invoiced? You will be invoiced monthly. By the way, you have to pay this monthly. Based on the month's install data. Invoicing will be the same method as your Unity subscription, so they're just going to auto bill you because they have your credit card or, you know, your payment method. It doesn't apply to film, gambling, or education subscriptions at this time, but like if you have like I mean you would have to have a specific subscription, right? Like if you make a non, you know, like what if you make a free product in Unity? Like for example, Quixel Mixer is made in Unity. Quixel Mixer, the thing from Unreal, is made in Unity. They're going to have to start paying Unity every time people use Quixel Mixer. It's like the most insane thing ever. And it applies to basically everyone and so forth. Each time a game is downloaded, is also installed, the Unity runtime fee goes towards the investment. It's garbage. But the big thing is that how is an install defined? An install is defined as the installation and initialization of a project on an end user's device. So in other words, they have to install it, and then I think they have to launch it, but this is the only point that they mention initialization. So, like, does that just include, like, the actual install itself? The first time it's launched? Like, we need a bit more clarity. And I know a lot of people are probably going to say, especially in the comments, well, you know, it says right there, but ambiguity is annoying because you need to know from a legal standpoint. Like, this was clearly written by a lawyer. 100%. And then, you know, this kind of goes on and whatever. Now we get to this lovely forum thread. This forum thread is now at page 1 of 6. I'm not going to go through and read this, but I've read up to page 5, actually. I don't know why I'd say page 1 of 4. Probably because I did this. But, like, we'll just go to the latest thread here, and we'll look. I mean, I do not think that this is going to work. Also, this right here is a really interesting point. Who is charged the runtime fee? Will be charged to the entity that distributes the runtime. How exactly are you going to force Steam to pay this? Because, yeah, that's actually a really good point. Where is that? Hang on. Who is charged the Unity runtime fee? All right, let me just... Who is charged... There it is. Couldn't find it. Yeah. That makes no sense. Like, that actually makes no sense. I mean, technically the runtime is bundled with the game, which you distribute. But technically, the person sending out... Well, I mean, Google is just going to be like, well, it's not mine. I'm not going to pay it. Or they're going to pass on the fee. Or... that is very strangely worded. So let's see what other people say. See if anyone... Yeah, it removes the piracy problem, I guess. I don't know how they're going to do this. Because we know they're just going to... We know that they're going to just bill the developer. Like, we know... Like, I don't want to make assumptions, and I know I just said let's not make an assumption, but that's clearly what they're talking about, but that's clearly not what that says. You know, this right here is not just talking about the developer. So you guys can, you know, go read the forum post and all that stuff. There's a lot of people in there arguing. Some people are being a little bit more sensational. But honestly, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot to be concerned about. Now, someone made this lovely little spreadsheet. Pardon the language. I didn't make this thing. I'm going to actually refresh it, see if it's updated. So, you can see that if you have 3 million installs, paid runtime installs, which would be 2.8 million, this is with the free plan. You would owe Unity $6.72 million. Chances are you did not make that with 3 million installs. Over here with the Pro and then the Enterprise and Industrial plans and so forth, that gets a little better. 480,000. Now, if you had 10 million installs, okay, and you only made $1 million, which honestly, in my opinion, seems a little generous because now granted, I haven't done mobile dev in a really long time, but I remember getting like significantly high installs, but revenue was very disproportional to the number of installs. You know, it did not mean, you know, you get tons of installs, but you wouldn't necessarily, but you know, your whales, or like maybe 2-3% or less, were actually making you the money. So just using an example here of 10 million installs, only making $1 million, before you pay staff, production costs, all that stuff, you are immediately screwed by this revenue install. Now, maybe things are different now. You know, I haven't done mobile dev in probably like 8 years. So, you know, the market changes significantly. All I can say to this is, from like my personal opinion, I know I'm just kind of running my mouth here and it's just running longer, is this is a complex pricing system that is just thought out by someone with an MBA degree, with a lawyer, and it's annoying. And the most annoying part about this whole plan, is the runtime is included with the game. There's no cost for Unity. They act like there's a cost. They're like, well, you know, we have to support the runtime. You mean the engine? That's what we pay you a yearly fee for. Like, you're just tacking on extra. It is truly greed. I usually don't like to say, you know, it's just greed. It's like there is a cost of doing business. But Unity here lately have spent a lot of money, like billions of dollars, since they went public. They fired hundreds of engineers. And now they're doing this. It's like, yeah, they have to actually make money now, sure, because, you know, they're not getting investment money, you know, at the same degree and all that sort of stuff. So they need to make money. But this is just the wrong way. Like, Unreal makes money when you make money. Okay? If you make $10 million in one quarter, $9 million of that will be charged 5%, which is a fair bit of money, you know. That's $450,000. It is a fair bit of money. because it's $50,000 for every million. Um, and that it doesn't mean you made $10 million. It's based on revenue. Um, and so then you get into the situation of where effectively Unity, they will make money even if you don't make money. Okay? If for some weird reason you make 10 million installs or 100 million installs, but you only make like 10 million bucks, well, you're screwed. Like, you are, even with the pro plan, you're screwed. If you make $10 million but you have 100 million installs, you've lost money. Now, the only upside to this is if people keep using Unity, the entire market might shift because they're going to have to ensure that they make money, which means gamification is probably going to get worse. Free-to-play games will definitely not be free-to-play on mobile. My guess is a lot of people are just going to stop using Unity. And this introduces another problem. Unity has popularity because it's so big. There's so much mass behind it. There's hobbyists, students, education, everything. If less people start using Unity because they don't want to use it commercially, that means the pool will go down. Now, I'm not going to be doom and gloom. I don't think this is going to immediately kill Unity. But I think long-term ramifications, even if they reverse course, the brand is damaged goods at this point. Now, with all that said, what are some alternatives to Unity? Well, you have Unreal. That one's kind of obvious. You have Godot. This one's completely free. I think that Godot, this is like handing Godot a silver platter. No, a gold platter or a platinum platter, if you will. This is amazing for Godot. Godot has C#. Godot has GD script. You have two options there. They don't have any analytical data. The source code is completely open. The engine is completely free. You know what? You could, all right, if every single Unity developer went and paid Godot $100 a year, that'd be an absolutely insane amount of money for them. And it'd only be $100. My God, if Unity developers just switched over and gave them $5, that would be a massive increase for Godot. You also have Armory 3D, which is a pretty interesting engine that is made by the guy that also makes Armory Paint, Armor Lab. He actually made Armor 3D first. It integrates into Blender. It's quite advanced, but it's integrated into Blender. You have the WickedEngine, which, by the way, is also open source. And it's like $5 for the supporter and then the console version. Otherwise, it's completely free for Windows and Linux. You have the Harfang engine, which is kind of more designed for like industrial type uses, but it's a completely functional game engine. And they have the framework, and then they have the studio, which includes an editor. The framework is completely free. It is actually completely free. You can even use it commercially, but you have to abide by the GPL or the LGPL license. So if you're fine with that, you can completely use it for free. But if you wanted a commercial license where you couldn't adhere to either of these licenses, well, you're gonna have to, go and get a commercial license. And this, that's 360 euros a year for a yearly plan. Oh, an annual subscription is just 300 euros. And this is also another quite advanced game engine, actually. Now, the tooling and stuff is not as nice as Unity or Unreal, but the editor is quite powerful, and from what I have found, significantly less buggy. Which brings me back to like yet another point with like Unity. I just view this entire thing as extremely short-sighted. And look, we're up to 7 now. Oh yeah, there's going to be videos and stuff everywhere of this. Other choices, of course, is you have Flax. I don't actually know the cost of it, but there are alternatives out there. And then, if you just want a framework, there's Raylib, which is C-based, but there's binding layers for practically everything on the planet. I don't know. So I've been talking for like 25 minutes straight. I'm just going to end it here because it's just kind of ridiculous. Like, to sum up my opinion, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Just go to a flat revenue share. When your developers succeed, you succeed. Not, we're going to bill you even if you suck or even if something happens. Like, no. Because that's a big worry. I mean, look at this. Like, seriously, if you make 10 million installs, or if you get 10 million installs, you are going to have to pay for 9 million of those installs. 9 million of them. What's the price point on that? Because it actually goes down to 0.2 per install once it goes over a million. So 9 million times 0.02. That's 180,000. Does get a little cheaper, but it, you know, you look at the price point. I wonder if, how is that person getting that price? Let's see. Hang on here. Ah, right, because you have to pay monthly. Right. I don't know how accurate this actually is now that I think about it, because you don't repay for an install. But even still, if that is accurate, because again, I have some interesting questions about this, because it is still per install. But if you had 9 million installs at the standard monthly rate, that's still a lot of money. It's an enormous amount of money. And it might seem like chump change to Unity, but you know, if you only make $1 million, even paying 50,000, you know, after taxes, production costs, you know, paying staff, you know, assuming you have staff, so you might have to pay contractors. Like, there's not a lot of overhead. You know, there are the big players, but they are few and far between. Everyone else is just getting by. So, you know, they use Unity because it's a flat fee, not to mention you're still paying for a Unity Pro license. So I don't know. Make of this what you will, but the short thing of that I find this to be ridiculous. I find this to be overly complicated. I find both the blog post and the FAQ to have inconsistencies. You know, like the biggest one being like how an install is defined. You know, it talks about the rollover, but there isn't a rollover because you actually have a lifetime. Like the rollover doesn't, you know, roll over or anything like that. Whoever is charged the runtime fee is whoever distributes the runtime. Well, Google and Steam are sure as hell not going to pay that. It's not happening. And how would you even get that? And that even further leads to the point, the massive GDPR violation. Are they going to run a custom version for just Europe and then for everywhere else? Like, it makes no sense. Are they going to run a custom one just for... Because, like, in the United States, California has something similar to the GDPR. You have to adhere to that. And what, you're going to run a custom one for Europe and California? And then you're going to run a third one just for the rest of the United States and then Canada? Like, it gets really complex and expensive. How are you going to manage all this? And do they even know? I have no idea. So anyway, going on 30 minutes now, or close to 30 minutes. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this. I think it's ridiculous. I think a flat fee when your developers succeed is better. You know, I think they should just make Unity free and charge 5%. Just immediately copy Unreal, just go, boom, this is what we charge. And then if they want to charge extra for some of the other stuff, fine. I mean, Unreal doesn't do that, and their engine's better than Unity. Significantly better. I know they get funding from Fortnite and, you know, Tencent and stuff like that, but still, like, Unity has a way to make money here without this annoying, complex garbage that just... Like, that's the thing. If it's too complex and there's too much to factor in, people aren't going to like this. They're just not. And you're billed monthly at Unity's discretion, which means you don't even get to, like... Oh, yeah. That's actually another thing that I want to talk about. What about demos? Like, you know, a lot of developers put out, like, those prologues. Is that part of your install for your game? Or your license? Or is that per product? I don't know. Doesn't say at all in the FAQ. You know, I know you have to hit the money price point and the install price point, but if you put out a demo or one of those prologues, which are effectively demos, that's going to bump you up for the install threshold. Then you just have to hit the revenue threshold. So you're going to waste all of your install thresholds on a freaking demo. And then what about piracy? What about if a bunch of people pirate it? Pirates don't give a crap about the install, you know, analytical data. Hopefully they're nice enough to the developer to remove that tracking. If you remove the tracking, does the game work? Is that another DRM? I mean, there are so many questions that need to be answered that should have been answered when they dumped this thing out. Instead, there's now a million questions and no answers. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching Raven Gaming Labs. Thanks to all the members and viewers who make RGL possible. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so that you can be notified. If you want to become a member, hit the join button or link in the description below. Members get early access to videos, member-exclusive content, and more. As well, don't forget to join our awesome community over at Discord. Y'all have a good one.